From Taylor Tatum moving to defense to helmet stickers, we've got answers to all of your questions right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday. We're back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Lowell, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. Thank you to all of our everydayers who watch or listen to the show every single day. Also, big thank you for making us your first listen as usual. For the Michigan mailbag, we'll start with the leaders and best before getting to the victors valiant, and then the lightning round with the blue crew. So let's get to it. Got to scroll up. Here we go. We have a honorary because we only had 3 of the leaders and best go for today. 3. So we promoted Edwin Simmons for as our alternate team captain. So let's start with James Crudup at James Crudup 6. Seems like everybody says that the current NIL model is unsustainable, but what do you think would happen when it actually hits that breaking point? I don't know. The same thing that we've seen for decades, kind of. I don't know. It's at what point do donors start to feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze? Because this isn't like a typical investment for a lot of people, right? Where you're donating money and then you're getting some kind of investment back, right? Like your return back. So I don't know, but I think like some of the schools that just want to win, right? Like they'll just keep, like Michigan will just keep on churning. But then some of the other schools that are starting to kind of get something and they're not necessarily seeing their returns in terms of wins, like maybe like the Purdue's of the world type, right? Maybe like SEC schools, you have to imagine are just going to keep going for broke. But Big Ten, I think, is starting to dominate just because there's a lot more money coming out of the Big Ten schools. But I don't know what it will look like when actually it's this breaking point. I think like before that, we'll see transfer portal and some of those things hit their breaking points first. Hard to say. I really haven't thought too much about it. My brother in metal, Michael Wolf at MWolf21 with the new coaching staff in place. Is this a rare instance where Michigan actually fell up? I think so, yeah. Even saw one of the Buckeye accounts that I follow, Brutus, or Buckeye Stark, Brutus Stark. That's what it was. Always praying for his son, Clark. But he had said something about like, man, this coach went 9-3 while having all these extracurriculars. Yes. I mean, that kind of tells you how amazing of a job the talent itself did. And I've heard other things, nothing like necessarily super specific, but I've heard other things about just the fact that they, like the talent just was able to do what it was able to do, that there were things behind the scenes that indicated a lot of malfeasance. So, yeah, I think to be able to get like a serious staff, like it's not silly season anymore. I think, guys who can develop, guys who can do more with less. I think that is a case of falling upwards. But we have to see, right? Like as much as like I just spent a lot of yesterday saying like trust the coaches. I mean, we have to see. Because you just don't really know, what it's going to look like in terms of, okay, they did it there. Can they do it here? It doesn't always work everywhere you go. Methods and such, right? They just don't. And, hence maybe, it took Jim Harbaugh a little bit longer to be able to do what he thought he could do anywhere. Because he did it at San Diego. He did it at Stanford. He did it with the 49ers. He comes to Ann Arbor and it increased, right? Michigan got better, but it took him longer to get things to the point that he thought he could get it at a lot faster. Spencer Whitmore, at Spencer Whitmore, any big travel plans for the offseason? Not as of yet. I mean, probably nothing crazy. I'm sure I'll go to Florida at some point, either back to Disney, because I haven't gone. I mean, aside from going while down there for the Citrus Bowl, I hadn't gone since 2024, early 2024. But either back there, maybe down to see my grandma who lives about 2 hours away from there in the winter, That's probably maybe Austin. I have a friend that lives in Austin, and I've talked to him about coming, and he does bike riding stuff. And I'd love to bring my drone and, use my cinema camera that we use here for the show in order to maybe do some cool video things. I haven't really thought too much about it. I've got other things on the mind at the moment. All right. Finishing us out in segment 1, Edwin Simmons at Simmons_Edwin. Happy Thursday, my brother in Christ. I enjoy the Discord. The nuggets you drop are great. I see the coaches around the road. Will they be able to recruit heavy in the Midwest, or do you see a little drop off? Harding loves to develop linemen, not many transfers, good or bad. As far as the Midwest, I think Kyle Whittingham said in his opening press conference, maintaining at least the state of Michigan is big. Harding's got the ties to Ohio as well as Michigan. I don't care so much if they honestly, I don't care. Just get the best players. And you saw that even from this last staff, right? This last class had one player from the state of Michigan. Year before, trying to think of who they had from Michigan, right? It kind of depends on the year. So there's that. And as far as Harding loving to develop linemen and everything, I don't know. Yes, he does. I don't know what it means. Not many transfers, good or bad. I'm sorry. Don't really have an answer there. All right. Short leaders and best. Let's move on. We're going to go ahead and get to the Victor's Valiant. We're going to do that here in just a moment. But before we do, tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever to hand off things. Just hand them off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind, knowing an expert is actually handling everything. So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you very much to everyone for making us your first listen. Very much appreciate that. But you know what? Now is the time to delve in deeper. Lean in harder. Locked On Wolverines. That's what you need to do. Go ad free by joining the Everydayer Club. But the more important thing in my eyes, and probably most of yours, than the ad free of it all, is the Discord. Right? You get the Discord access. If you were on the Discord, you heard first about Bryson Kuzdzal. That he was withdrawing from the portal and that Taylor Tatum was switching to defense. So I would encourage you to do that. And it gets nuts in there in a good way. So it's $5 a month or $50 a year. Just go to lockedonwolverines.supercast.com or check the show notes for more. All right, let's continue on. We've got plenty more. Let's start with Chubbs GB at Talk with Chubbs. After seeing Tatum being switched to safety, and that is Tony Garcia report, I didn't get a position. Hence yesterday, I was surmising it was linebacker. Is there any player that you can think of that might benefit from a position change, or one you think could help Michigan out better in your eyes? I could see maybe one of the receivers switching to defensive back as well, right? Channing Goodwin was called Mr. Reliable, but had similar drop issues as Samaj. So if that doesn't improve, put him on defense. See what he can do over there. That could, that's usually the way it goes. I don't usually like the offensive line to defensive line or fullback to defensive line. Ben Mason, that didn't work out, moving him to 3-tech. Generally, that doesn't seem like that works. But maybe there's a superfluous offensive lineman that could play D tackle. I don't know. One of those things, I think. I don't know. All right. Perry Mitchell at Perry Mitchell 08. How long will it take for the staff to ingratiate themselves to the recruiting footprint? I'm referencing wide receiver Dakota Garant in 27 and his teammate from the 28 class, but also the bigger picture. Pretty quickly, I think, it doesn't necessarily mean about, they've got to really do this and this and this. They just have to be present. Really, that's it. Be present, be consistent. and show that like, hey, we want this guy. We want to be involved in your schools. What other guys you got, that type of thing. I think that's what matters the most ultimately. So that's all I got there. ZT Jones at @who_Zach Jones. Which member of the front seven has to have the best year for Michigan's defense to be the most successful? I would say pick a defensive lineman or an edge rusher. You can get away with not having disruptive tackles if you have disruptive edges. You can get away with not having disruptive edges if you have disruptive tackles. You can get away with not having disruptive linebackers if the front four and the back end all work well in harmony. So I wouldn't say just one guy. I don't think it's like, okay, Trey Pierce or John Henry Daly. It just has to be somebody. And I think they've got the talent, they got the bodies, they've got the coaches that can develop. So I just wouldn't be surprised to see one of those guys really take or an Etta type, take a step forward. David Pale, now that he's healthy, hopefully. I could see it being one of those things. Brent Byer at Brent Byer 6. Who's on the starting defensive line? I would say probably Trey Pierce and Etta, or Trey Pierce and Jonah Laea rather. And then John Henry Daly if healthy, and Cam Brandt, and if not John Henry Daly, then probably Dom Nichols. How much talent and depth will it have compared to last season? The front seven, including linebackers, is my one concern. It's not going to have as much depth, but I think here's the good thing. I felt like they rotated a little too much in the last 2 years. And I think it was fine in like 2023, because like there were points where I'm like, man, you don't want to take Cam Good off the field, right? Like I just remember that Minnesota game thinking like, because before it was kind of like, man, I don't know about Cam Good. And then eventually you got to this point where you're like, man, they can't take him off the field. He's been too good. Whereas I felt like they were taking guys off the field that didn't need to be taken off the field. And I understand the idea of keeping guys fresh, but like you got to have consistent production, and that wasn't really the case. So as far as that goes, I mean, I think that there's a lot of talent. There's more, that, and keeping in mind too, this is like something that Kyle Whittingham has tended to do well, is build line play on both sides, regardless of like I said yesterday, even with the linebacker, like one of the guys that everyone thought that they were going to get, they felt like wasn't physical enough. So I think they like what they have, and it's just about getting the most out of them. I think they can do that. I'm not the one at William Cawthorn 9. Are they all done with incoming transfers? Never say never. Josh Henschke made it sound like there's, he doesn't know any names, but they're still kind of like keeping an eye out. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were done at this point. Is it true that Tatum is changing to defense? Yes, at least starting out that way. We talked about that yesterday. How much pressure has Cignetti put on new coaching hires after what he's accomplished in 2 years? I mean, immense across the board, and that's kind of where I had like the cautionary tale, like in the coaching search, people are like, just go and get the next Cignetti. It's like, okay, just go get like a guy that's like having a once in a lifetime run, once in a generation run. So you have to keep things a little bit in, cause like you see it all the time. Like that's what Florida is constantly trying to do. They're trying to find that guy, right? They're constantly like dipping in, like after they started getting like, they went Muschamp, Jim McElwain, and then like they started, who was after that? The Napier, they're just constantly dipping. Now they got Summerall from Tulane. They're trying to find that guy, and it's hard to do. I think that you're going to see maybe someone will eventually take a run on Tony Anise, that type of thing, just to see if they can find that guy. But I think that it's unrealistic to expect from in any program what Cignetti has been able to do. I mean, what he did has been incredible. Method Man 8, peace be with you, my brother. With the strength that the schedule is for next year, do you see Michigan getting into the college football playoff with 3 losses? That's hard to say. Also, when do you think Paul Feinbaum will actually leave the U.S. since the SEC didn't make the Natty? LOL. Hope you and Zuri are well, my friend. Thank you. He did say that the Big Ten is the toughest conference now, and that could give some leeway if people look at it and say, if everyone beats up on everybody else, everyone has like 2 losses and say Michigan has 3 and one of them's to like, Oklahoma at home or something. Like, I mean, maybe I still don't love having that level of room for error, to be honest. And it just depends what the landscape is around it too, right? Like if Michigan has 3 losses, but there's like 3 SEC schools with 1, and a couple ACC schools, like Miami did a lot for the ACC by making the championship game, right? So Adam Casel at Adam_Casel. You surprised Tatum is playing safety, not linebacker? A little bit. Yeah. But I like I said yesterday, I think his size maybe precluded him a little bit from linebacker. Does that speak to what the staff is looking for at safety, size, speed, etc.? They might. Hard to tell. I don't know because we haven't talked to them yet. Does this say more to the depth at safety or running back or both? I think more running back because obviously they've got safeties. And so I think it's more of what's that running back, because you can play 2 safeties at a time, maybe even 3. You can only play 1 running back generally at a time. So, I mean, maybe 2, but still, generally you're only going to, they said they're going to be an 11 personnel most of the time. So I think it says more about running backs. Will we see more two-way players with this staff? I don't know. I do know that I saw a Utah fan said Whittingham loves switching offensive guys to defense, and he's had great success at it. So that answers that question that we talked about the other day. KLob711 at KLob711. Joel Klatt ranks Michigan number 9 in his way too early rankings this morning. Do you see Michigan being this high or a bit lower? God bless. Hard to say because of the schedule. The schedule really, I think, can exacerbate things, right? Because that's a darn difficult schedule. But, I mean, talent-wise, I mean, they're kind of right around there. Let me see if they have, let me see if I can do this quickly. Probably not, but let's see. I'm going to go to the team talent composite. Team rankings, less recruiting. Oops, that's not where I want to be. Here we go. College team talent. If it will let me actually scroll down, and it's not... 24/7, fix your stuff. What the heck? I can't scroll to the other things here. Like the little sub menus. There we go. Now it will work. I don't know if this is updated or not yet. 2026. No, it's not updated. So that was all for naught. That whole wasting time thing that just happened. All for naught. But I mean, Michigan's probably right around there in terms of talent. So I think like that tells you a little something. BW at BW2623. What do you think of Sherrone Moore as a person when you talk to him? It varies. The first couple years of Sherrone, 2018, 2019, 2020, he seemed like a very grateful, I can't believe I'm here, humble young man that was just a hard worker. But then I think when he got elevated to co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, started to see a bit of an ego to him, and he didn't seem as genuine of a person as he was beforehand. So that's kind of how I felt about it. Like I just did not feel, and we've had this conversation internally, me and some of the other reporters, and especially when he became head coach, it really felt like he was trying to do a Jim Harbaugh impression in a lot of ways. Again, taking away from his authenticity, and that kind of concerned me. Matt at U of M KWN, Kirwin, I think is what it's supposed to be. With a mix of returning guys and portal guys, who breaks out as the star in the secondary and on the DL? I wouldn't be surprised to see Shamari Earls break out in the secondary along with Chris Bracey, and on the defensive line. Again, I think Anoeta can be that guy this year, finally. He started flashing in spring ball a couple years ago. I could see him finally kind of making good on that. Nunya Biz at U of M fan for life. What have you heard about a coach possibly trying to sabotage the new staff, and why a certain group of DBs all transferred out? I've heard that rumor. I haven't heard anything to back it up. I'll just put it that way. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean it did happen. I'm just saying I haven't heard anything tangible that indicates that was true beyond rumors. The Rican Raider at Hamstand87. Morning, Isaiah. Predict the RB rotation. I will go with, I think it's pretty easy now for the most part. I think Jordan Marshall, Savion Hyder, and Bryson Kuzdzal. Maybe Kuzdzal's ahead of him initially, but I think Hyder's just too talented. Also, clip this so Jay Book can see me say he doesn't know ball. There you go. Jacob Shavaria finishing us out in segment 2 at Shavaria. Were you aware of any players blackmailing Sharon for playing time before it was reported in the media? Safe to say Samaj was one of them. It had been said as a joke, but no, I'd never heard, and I haven't dug any deeper than what, and it's kind of hard to some degree because it's a new coaching staff. So, I don't know. And there were several that asked this question. I deleted some of the others because they were in the lower group. I might still have left one in accidentally, but he also continues. Dusty May is the 19th highest paid coach in all of basketball, currently ranked 4th in the Big Ten. Ward, please fix this. I'm sure he will, right? Like if they go to the Final Four, I'm sure that there will be a nice big pay raise to go along with it, right? He's got to prove his mettle. I know, like we look at it and say, oh, that's great. But like he did come from FAU, and yes, he did get them into the Final Four. But there was no guarantee this was going to work. It's just kind of how it goes. And he'll certainly, if he continues to win, they will react accordingly. All right, we've got plenty more. We're going to get to the lightning round, the Blue Crew. We're going to do that here in just a moment. We might actually be under 30 minutes this show. I'm not as talkative today. I don't know. I'm a little I finally slept well last night. And I actually did go for a run, but it didn't energize me. It just made me more tired. Anyway, Ethan Smotherman, if any late portal additions, what position would you target and who would you target that's still on the board? I'm not really paying attention at this point. It's pretty much locked in. If you can find a defensive tackle or a linebacker that you think can help, there you go. What's going on with that edge from Missouri? Should throw an offer at him. He can't resist. It kind of looks like he's Miami bound, but that could obviously change. Big Brother at It's Teen Laquifa. If I buy the Discord, will you find a new segue into ads? I really need a break from them, but before we do. No. Wait, sorry. I want to say that in my most Isildur voice. No. That's the same thing. No, I'm not changing. No offense. I'm not changing what I do for you. That's just not how that's going to go. Jason Macwin at JMoneySniper17. Is it a good idea for running back to switch to safety? Linebacker makes more sense for running backs. If he's got speed and can understand opposing route concepts or just, obviously his zones and things of that nature, then I think it's fine, right? That's it. Speed and ability to get to the ball are what's most important. Regardless, yes, you normally see them at linebacker, but he's a little shorter maybe than what they want at linebacker at 5'10". So maybe that's why he's a safety. Marsh/Rice Enjoyer at Chiefs U of M Clee, as in Cleveland. Should we be content with our offensive line and should we expect better pass protection? I think so. And I think so. That's all I got. I think it's you've seen a lot of young guys get better over the course of the season. It's the one place last year that you can look at and say that from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, that group got better. And there's a lot of youth there. So I think also having Jim Harding is going to pay some dividends. Rob Kuchar at Rob Kuchar. Are there any other position changes? Way too early to tell at this point. Ian Westbrook at Ian_Westy. What are the chances Celeste Moa could come to Michigan and become the type of game breaker that Travis Hunter was on both sides of the ball? I feel like if he meets the hype, he could possibly be Michigan's next Heisman winner. Love the show and God bless. Thank you very much. It's certainly possible. He's not as highly rated as Travis Hunter, but certainly has that skill set and ability. I think it's possible. I don't know if it's probable, but I think it's possible. That's what I'll say about that. Muzzamill, go blue at Muzzamill _15. Is our running back really that strong now that the Oklahoma transfer will be moving to safety? Do we need another solid running back transferred in? No, they've still got Micah Kapana and Donovan Johnson, right? Like they still have some guys. Remember Donovan Johnson, before his injury, was thought to be maybe like the second best running back in the 2025 class. And, missed a year and then just kind of wasn't the same. And then he missed this last year with a season-ending injury in fall camp. So, if they can get him back to health, you might have something, right? Like, yeah, you might lose some of the ability, but strength and conditioning and the health staff kind of get with him. Maybe things can change there. Chris at U of M, Chris 25. Have you heard if the helmet stickers will stay the same, change, be done away with? I haven't heard anything. So that's, I would expect them to stay. They came back before Harbaugh, right? They came back during Hoke, I think, or no, was it Harbaugh? It was Harbaugh. Hoke had the numbers on the side of the helmets. I think the helmet stickers will probably stay, I would guess. Jeff Cross at Jeff X Dog with the number of the beast after it. I know it's been said that Tatum will start off at safety, but do you think he could actually land at linebacker? This feels like it could be a reverse Hassan Haskins situation. I mean, starting off at safety, they could think he's better at linebacker. They could think he's just best at running back. Heck, they could think of him as a slot receiver. It's too early to really tell beyond what we actually know at this point. That's the beauty of the offseason right now. Carter Smotherman at Carter Smother2. What do we know about Jason Beck? Should we expect the same style offense or something different? I'd like to see Bryce use his feet more. Well, Devin Dampier ran for 700 yards last year. And still passed for, I believe, just a hair more than Bryce did in the same amount of games. They're going to run 11 personnel, so you're not necessarily going to see 2 tight ends on the field as much. You're going to see a lot more 3 wide receiver sets. However, they do run the ball more efficiently than they pass the ball, but that was kind of, I think, a little bit based off of what they had too. I mean, they were explosive in both the run and the pass game. So I think that that's what you can know about Jason Beck. Kind of a perfect fit for what they have right now, I think is what I would say about him. All right, finishing us out. Maybe it's a little early for us. Sub 30-minute show, sub 28 minutes with the mailbag. Kind of love that. Let me tell you, it's sometimes doing the mailbag is a little daunting. You went from being like, man, we just need to have a show with audience participation. It can be can fill a day a week. Because, sometimes it's hard. Just this is inside baseball. Sometimes it's hard to come up with 30 minutes to talk about every single week or every single day rather. And because it's not like you're not talking back to me. Right. And so that was where it's like, okay, I can have one show where you guys get involved. And once it started getting 60 questions per ask, it was sometimes it's like, man, just even organizing this is daunting for my ADHD brain. Marty Williams at Marty3535. Best guess at safety and linebacker depth chart. Player you think may come out of nowhere on offense. Thanks, Isaiah. Let's see. Linebacker depth. We'll say start safety depth. I mean, I think if healthy Rod Moore starts, next to him, I'm going to go with Chris Bracey. Behind them, Mason Curtis and Jordan Young. I think you'll see plenty of them. And then maybe Taylor Tatum and Jacob Oden. Kind of just depends. Linebacker, I think you've got, let me see, Troy Bowles and Nathaniel Owusu Boateng as your starters, Chase Taylor, and I forgot. Nate Staling, I think, is going to certainly be a starter. I'm going to go Staling and Boateng, and then still see Troy Bowles coming off the bench, and same with Chase Taylor, and then Max Alford and who's the other one? AC Moa. But I still think you'll see all of them. As far as coming out of nowhere on offense, let's go Jamar Browder. Was really showing out in spring ball, a little bit in fall camp. I think just having some more development there. Second year, I think that he could certainly be oh, wow. He didn't do anything last year. And I think he'll certainly could be a part of this offense this year. All right, that's going to do it for us today. So we ended up going over 28 minutes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you again soon. Peace.